Hey Kula, welcome to day number 3 of our April challenge. If you are taking this challenge real time, it should be Saturday. So we're gonna do a fiery sequence. That feels like Saturday energy to me. And then for Sunday, we'll take it down a bit. We'll go for a little bit of a shorter, stretchier, more relaxing sequence. But for today, fire. Let's bring the heat. Let's go ahead and get started in a child's pose. So knees wide, big toes together, sink the hips back on top of the heels and walk the arms out long in front of you. Let the forehead rest on the mat and soften into that point of contact. And then let's bend the elbows. Palms come to touch behind the head in your child's pose. And take some big inhales, big exhales to land here. We're going to pick up our pace pretty quickly today, but as always, I think it's incredibly important that we start here by connecting to breath, by stepping out of anything that's happening outside of this moment, and checking in with body, checking in with how you are feeling today, this week, this month, this year. How are you doing? Big breaths in, big breaths out. We'll take 2 more rounds, maybe even an open mouth exhale, which I always encourage as an opportunity to let stagnant energy move through. And if you've got the elbows bent, let's extend the arms back out long to the top of the mat. Walk the fingers as far as you can towards the top of the mat. So you're really starting to get that length in the side bodies. And then grounding into all 10 finger pads and knuckle pads, let's roll up past a tabletop position and come all the way into a big up dog shape with the thighs on the floor, the shoulders onto the back body. If this is too much for the low back, please drop the elbows down to the floor for Sphinx pose. But either way, whichever shape you're in, engage into the glutes so we can protect the low back, press the tops of the feet into the floor, and pull the heart forward through to the front of the room. On your exhale, if you're not there already, drop the elbows to the floor, so elbows directly underneath the shoulders, curl onto the toes. Let's stay grounded in the knees for a moment and come up onto kind of a knees down forearm plank. And then strengthening through the center line of you into the core, tuck onto the toes, lift the knees from the mat. Now we've landed in our forearm plank. Little shift forward and back. If this is too much for the low back at any point, please bring the knees back down. We're going straight into the fire on this day number 3 sequence. Come back through center, through stillness. Lift the right toes an inch above the floor. And then we're going to keep the forearms rooted to the mat, but as if you are kind of pressing back towards a down dog, pull the heart back and lift the right toes high. So kind of a long extended dolphin plank forearm situation. Come back through center, right toes to the floor, left toes lift an inch, strong through the core, press floor away from you. Left foot is flexed. And then again, as if you're trying to kick left foot, left heel up towards the ceiling and pull the heart back. Get a little bit of an opening for the shoulders as we're also strengthening them and starting to build some heat. Come back through center, forearm plank. Elbows under shoulders, tucked onto the toes. Let's on an inhale, press up to the hands, high plank, wrists underneath the shoulders. And then just take a shift forward and back. Maybe take some circles on the wrists. Again, knees can drop down anytime you need them to. Find our way through neutral. Drop the knees back to the floor into a tabletop position. And let's move through a couple cycles of cat-cow. Inhaling to open the collarbones, lift tailbone, lift gaze. Exhale, round the spine. Take a couple more here on your own. Inhales to open up, exhales to round, and really set this foundation of connecting movement with the breath. Movement with the in-breath and the out-breath. One more round. And then finding your way back into a neutral spine. Let's tuck onto the toes. Lift the knees to a hover above the mat. Just an inch above the floor. Press floor away from you. And then on your exhale, keep the knees to a hover, but take a deeper bend into the knees and pull the heart back towards the tops of the thighs, kind of like you're just crouching above the mat. Straighten out the legs, lift the hips, find your downward dog. Couple breaths here to pedal out the feet. First down dog for our practice today. Bending into one knee, bending into the other knee, shifting hips side to side. Take some movement that feels good in the body. And then using your exhale, walk the hands to the back of the mat. So we've landed in our forward fold at the back. Clasp opposite elbows, little sway side to side. Drop the head, soften the jaw, maybe an open mouth exhale. You know that I encourage these a lot if it feels good. And release the hands down to the mat. One vertebrae at a time. Let's roll up. Making our way all the way to standing. Take it really slow. Arms sweep up overhead at the top. As you come up, let the right hand grab the left wrist. Lift up and out of the waist and lean the upper body over to the right. And then we're going to keep this clasp, right hand to the left wrist. Shift your weight into the left foot. Right toes step behind. Oh my gosh, I'm wrong. Left toes step behind over to the right. We're going to keep the blooper in there and keep going. Left toes step off to the right. So going for a big long line of energy down the left side of the body. Inhale, come back through center. Now we're going to swap it out. Left hand holds onto the right wrist. Lift up and out of the waist and lean over to the left. And now we shift into the left foot and right toes step off to the left side of the mat. This is a shape that I get confused a lot. I think I messed that up in a recent video. And on your inhale, come back through center, feet hip width distance apart. Arms extend up overhead. Let's engage the glutes, cactus out the arms, and open the heart. As we take this little baby back bend here, focus on pulling the shoulders together on the back body. So we're not just dumping into the low spine, we're opening the heart here too. Drop hands until they interlace all the way at the low back. And then keep this interlace of the hands as we dive the heart forward, finding your forward fold with the clasp, the interlace of the fingers. Drop the head, soften the jaw. Big inhales, long, slow exhales. And then releasing the hands down to the mat. Let's walk forward all the way back into our high plank with wrists underneath the shoulders. Drop the knees down if you need to here. We're coming back into a little burst of heat. Slow bend into the elbows until we lower all the way down to the belly. And then keeping the hands planted, keeping the toes tucked. Press all the way back up, high plank. Bend into the knees, pull the heart back towards the tops of the thighs, hips towards the heels. On your exhale, shift forward, high plank, and then slow motion, lower all the way down to the belly. Keep hands planted, keep toes tucked, engage core, engage glutes, press all the way back up, high plank. Exhale, bend into the knees, pull the heart back. Knees can drop to the floor anytime you need. Let's come back forward, high plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. And then untuck the toes, bring the hands wider than the mat, tent out the fingertips, press into the fingers and in breath to lift the heart. Roll the shoulders onto back body, glutes are strong, heart threads through, scapula onto the back body. On your exhale, little bend in the right elbow and look over the right shoulder, kind of shifting left shoulder forward a bit. And then inhale to come back through center, and we'll swap that out. Kind of shifting right shoulder forward, gaze over the left. Inhale to come back through center, roll the shoulders onto the back body, release the heart back down to the floor, plant the hands, curl onto toes, knees are grounded to the mat or they're lifted, choose your challenge. We're pressing up, high plank. And then on your exhale, roll the hips back, finding your downward dog. On your exhale, let's step walk or hop the feet, top of the mat, forward fold. Using your inhale to halfway lift, lengthen through the spine, crown of the head is extending forward, and on your exhale, fold and release. 2 more times, inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale to fold, heart softens towards the tops of the thighs. Last one, inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen, we're gonna pause here, soft bend into the knees, bring hands to interlace at the base of the skull, knit the rib cage in, and then pull the elbows up towards the ceiling as much as you can. So we're firing up the shoulders. Take a bend into the knees, deep bend, maybe so much that the thighs come parallel to the top of the mat. And then root through the heels. On your inhale, come all the way to standing. Feet stay hip width distance. Engage the glutes. Maybe a little back bend here. Heart opens towards sky. On your inhale, come back up through center. Hands stay to interlace for a moment. Let's lean the upper body over to the right. Lengthening out down left side body. Like you're trying to touch right elbow to the floor. And then inhale, come back through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale to come back through center, arms reach up overhead, palms come to touch. And with your exhale, dive forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. In breath to halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. On your exhale, release, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Your choice, you can lower all the way to the belly or you can lower halfway down. And then in breath to pull through, either baby cobra or up dog. On your exhale, roll the hips up and back. We land in our downward facing. We're going to move through a couple rounds of Sun A. Connect the movement with your breath. Even if you're not exactly with my cues, that is totally, totally okay. On your exhale, step, walk, hop, or float. Land at the top of the mat, forward fold. In breath to halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale to release, fold, let it go. Inhale to rise, come through standing, palms touch overhead, maybe a little back bend at the top. And with your exhale, dive forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. In breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to release, plant the hands, step or hop to the back of the mat, choosing your vinyasa or going straight back, downward dog. Movement with the inhale, movement with the exhale. It's okay if you're not exactly with me. 2 more times. Exhale the feet, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, let it go. Inhale, rise. Come through standing, fill the lungs as you open the heart. And then exhale, release, let it go as you fold forward. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release, plant the hands, step, hop, play. Again, when we do our vinyasas, you can always add on a crow pose or an inversion if you want to take it to a more advanced shape. Or you can simply step back, skip the vinyasa if you're looking for a little more rest. I think I said 1 more. Let's go with it. We'll keep with this pace. Exhale, feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, release, fold, let it go, empty out. Inhale, rise. Come through, standing, palms touch. Back bend is there if that feels supported. And then exhale, release, empty out. In breath, halfway lift. Lengthen spine. Exhale, release, plant the hands, move with you. So step back, hop back, float back. Breathe through it, whatever movement it is that you decide to take. And then exhale, we meet back in our down dog. We're gonna hang here for a breath or so. Settle. Let it feel good. Notice how the body is feeling at this point in the practice. We probably started to build at least a little bit of heat. On your next inhale, let's lift the right toes high. Bend the knee to open the hip, and then take some big circles with the right knee. As big of circles as you possibly can. Switch direction of the circles. And then on your exhale, bring right knee across the body to the left elbow. We're coming into a fallen star, so outside edge of the right foot sets down to the floor. Left foot spins flat, left fingertips open, or reach up towards sky. And then bend into the left knee as you reach left hand forward towards the front of the room. And re-straighten through the left leg. Circle the left hand down. Kick the right toes back, 3-legged down dog. And then right foot sets down to the mat next to the left. Same thing, second side, just one pose. Left foot reaches high. Start by bending the knee, opening the hip, and taking some really big circles with the left knee. The biggest circles that you can create, like you're drawing in the air. Switch directions. And then on your exhale, left knee comes across the body, right elbow. Straighten out through the left leg as right foot spins flat. Outside edge of the left foot to the floor. Right fingertips sweep up high. Pull the hips up as high as you can. And then bend into the right knee as you reach the right fingertips forward. Keep pressing the floor away from you with the left hand. And re-straighten through the right leg as you circle the right hand back down. Kick left toes back. And then left foot meets the floor. Find your downward dog. On your exhale, step, walk, hop the feet, land at the top of the mat. Find your forward fold, Uttanasana, feet hip width distance. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to release and let it go. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Pause here, core is strong. Soft bend into the knees, bring hands to interlace at the base of the skull. We've been here before. Peel the elbows up towards the ceiling. Take a deep bend into both knees until maybe the thighs come all the way parallel to the mat. This is a super funky chair, bear shape. Keep pulling the elbows up so you're strong through the shoulders. Shift your weight into the toes, heels left. And then on your exhale, slow motion. Take 5 counts to release the heels all the way back down. Take it really slow. Once you're there, we're going to keep the hands to interlace at the base of the skull. Shift your weight into the left foot. Lift the right foot literally just an inch above the floor. And then right toes are going to step all the way to the back of the mat. Keep the upper body forward. So slow and controlled movement. Let the hips drop down and forward. And then soften the right knee to the floor as you inhale, open the heart. Elbows peel apart and down towards the back corners of the mat. With your in-breath, let's release the back bend. Extend the fingers forward as we come back to our power lunge, right knee lifts. And then on your inhale, pivot open, warrior 2. Right foot spins flat. Fingertips reach long in both directions. Inhale to reverse the warrior. Right hand, right thigh, left arm comes up and over. And then on your exhale, cartwheel the hands, frame out the left foot, step back, high plank, either a vinyasa, or move straight back into your downward dog. Same little mini sequence, mini warm-up sequence, second side. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet, top of the mat, forward fold. Feet hip width distance. On your inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Open the mouth for the exhale and let it go. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Soft bend into the knees. Last time here. Hands to interlace at the base of the skull. Pull the elbows up towards the ceiling. Glutes are engaged here. They're super active. Take a deep bend into the knees. So much so that the thighs might come parallel to the floor. Keep pulling elbows up towards ceiling. And then shift your weight into the right foot. Left foot lifts literally just an inch above the mat. Slow. Left toes. Step all the way back. Keep the upper body forward. Keep peeling the elbows up towards sky. And then soften left knee down as you open the heart. As much as little of a back bend as feels good here. Shoulders pull into back body, elbows peel apart and down towards back corners of the mat. With your inhale, release the back bend, release the hands, and reach the fingertips forward as you lift the left knee from the mat. And then with your inhale, pivot open, warrior 2. Left foot spins flat, reach long through the fingertips, shoulders soften back and down. In breath to reverse the warrior. Left hand down the back of the left thigh, right arm comes up and over. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands, frame out the right foot, step back into your high plank. Pause in your plank and find your breath. Find the inhale, find the exhale. And then when you're ready for it, you could move through your vinyasa. Or you could simply send the hips back. We meet in our downward dog. Hips up and back, heart pulls back towards the tops of the thighs. Drop the head here for a full cycle of breath. All right, we're gonna get super playful with this next sequence. On your next exhale, roll the spine forward, landing in your high plank, wrists underneath the shoulders. Lift the right foot an inch above the floor, a few inches. Lift the right foot above the floor, right toes flex back. You can either hang here for a sec, or you could come up onto left fingertips, or you could bring left hand to tap the right shoulder. Super strong, steady movements with the core. Drop the left hand back down to the mat. Keep the right foot lifted, and in fact, now lift it as high as you can, so much so that you're really engaged into the glutes. And then bend into the elbows and lower all the way down to the belly. Keep the right foot lifted up off the mat. Don't let it touch. We're going to ground the left knee to the floor, and then keep the left knee rooted. Come up into your tabletop position. Three-legged table. Bend into the right knee, lift the right foot as high as you can up towards the sky. And then as we lift the left knee from the mat, we're gonna pull the right knee into nose, getting a super tight squeeze in here. Maybe the right knee even touches the forehead. Okay, from this shape, we're pivoting open into our wild thing, which means right knee spins up towards ceiling and right toes step all the way behind you, right fingertips reach. Heart opens up towards sky. All right, I told you the sequence is gonna get playful, funky. We're gonna bend into the right knee enough that we can drop the hips all the way down to the mat. Sit up really tall out of the waist, so left leg is long, right knee is bent, right foot is planted. And then with or without the hands, we're gonna lift the hips. Totally fine if the left heel is rooted to the mat. Maybe you play with lifting it. It's also okay if the right heel is lifted from the mat. We're gonna bend into the left knee and step the left foot next to the right. So we're in kind of a crouched shape, now facing the back of our mat. And then on your exhale, lift the hips, find your forward fold, Uttanasana. Drop the weight of the head. On your inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine, bring the arms to airplane wings, and then start to shift your weight into the left foot. We're gonna sweep the right toes to the sky as we dive the heart forward into a standing split with the hands lifted. So heart dives forward. Totally fine if you need to catch yourself, fall out and come back in. Engage into the right glutes to lift the right toes even a little higher. And then bend into the left knee as right toes drop all the way to the back of the mat. On your inhale, upper body lifts, high crescent lunge. Shoulders soften down the back, lift up and out of the waist. Bring palms to touch overhead. On your exhale, hands come through heart center, twist to the left. So the right elbow hooks itself to the outside of the left knee. Pressing the elbow into the knee back into the elbow, traction the heart open, and then keeping this twist of the upper body. Now see if you can play with hovering the right elbow off of the left knee an inch. So using just the strength of the core to wrap the lungs around the heart. Okay, our transition from here is all the way back to the top of the mat. We're gonna pivot to the right and pivot all the way into a warrior two with the right toes pointed forward, fingertips reaching long in both directions. Shoulders soften down and back. On your inhale, straighten out through the right leg. Left hand down the back of the left thigh, right arm comes up and over. And then on your exhale, rebend into the right knee, cartwheel the hands, frame out the right foot. We're gonna kick the right toes all the way back, three-legged down dog, right foot reaches high. Exhale, shift forward, tap right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, kick back, three-legged down dog. Exhale, right knee to the left elbow. Inhale to kick back, three-legged down dog. On your exhale, right knee into the chest, step the foot through between the hands. Soften the left knee to the floor. We're gonna straighten out through the right leg, sending hips back, sending heart forward. Big stretch for the right hammies. And then rebend into the right knee, lift the upper body, palms come to touch overhead. Just a little bit of a back bend. You guys know this one well, I teach it in pretty much every class. Circle the hands around to frame out the right foot. We're gonna keep the left knee grounded. Step the right knee back into your tabletop position. On your exhale, bend into the elbows, lower the chin and chest all the way to the floor. We're gonna play with a super funky spinal wave here. Start by tucking into the tailbone, and then we're rolling up the spine, pulling the heart through into this big upward dog seal shape. On your exhale, lower the heart all the way down to the floor. Hands stay planted under the shoulders, tuck onto the toes. Knees are either grounded on the mat or they're lifted for more challenge. Press all the way up, high plank. And then on your exhale, send the hips back, downward facing. Ooh, that's a fun one. We're gonna do the whole thing again. We're gonna hope I remember all the details all again on the second side. On your exhale, ripple the spine forward, land in your high plank. Wrists under shoulders. Lift the left toes above the mat, left foot is flexed. Again, you can stay here, or you can come up onto the right fingertips, Or you can bring right hand to tap the left shoulder, strong through the center line of U. Right hand comes back down, elbows bend. We're gonna keep the left knee or left foot lifted as high as we can as we lower all the way down to the belly. Keep the left foot off the mat, the left knee off the mat, or keep the right toes tucked, but we're gonna ground into the right knee and then press back up into a three-legged table. All right, bend into the left knee, lift the left heel, press the left heel up to the ceiling as high as you can. So we're getting some engagement in the hamstrings and the glutes. As we lift the right knee from the mat, pull the left knee to nose. Tight squeeze in, knee touches maybe even the forehead. And then we're windmilling open to our wild thing. So left knee points up to the ceiling until left toes drop behind the back, left fingertips left. Press the hips and the heart up towards ceiling. And then as you're ready, we're gonna drop the hips all the way down to the floor. Left knee stays bent. Left knee is pointed up to the ceiling. Right leg is straight. Sit up really tall out of the waist. So even this may be a little bit of a compression for the left hip. And then you can use the hands or you can challenge yourself without. We're gonna lift the hips from the floor. Maybe even right leg lifts from the floor, or right foot. And then right foot is just gonna step back next to the left. So we're in kind of this crouched shape. Take an in-breath here. On your exhale, lift the hips. Find your forward fold. Next inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen through the spine. Bring arms out to airplane wings. Soft bend into the knees. Shift your weight into the right foot. As the left leg swings back and up, we're diving the heart forward over top of the right thigh. So heart dives forward into this standing split shape. Slow bend into the right knee until left toes drop all the way to the back of the mat. And on your inhale, come up, high crescent lunge. Wrists stack on top of shoulders, stack on top of hips, tuck tailbone down. Palms come to touch overhead. Big inhale. On your exhale, hands come through heart center. We're twisting the upper body to the right. So think of hooking left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Twisting heart open towards sky, right shoulder to stack on top of the left. And then before we release this shape, use the strength of your core to lift the left elbow off of the right knee, hovering it an inch. On your next in-breath, we're coming all the way back to the top of the mat. So pivot to the left, so much so that left toes point forward and right foot is parallel to the now back of your mat. So we're back forward, left knee is bent, shoulders soften, reach the fingertips. On your inhale, straighten through the left leg. Right hand drops down the back of the right thigh. Left arm comes up and over. And then on your exhale, re-bend into the left knee. Cartwheel the hands. Frame out the left foot. Kick all the way back with the left toes. Three-legged down dog. With your exhale, into the fire we go. Shift forward, tap left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, kick back. Three-legged. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, kick back, three-legged, last one. Exhale, left knee into the chest, step the foot through between the hands. Right knee drops down. With your exhale, straighten out through the left leg. Left toes pull back towards body, left hip pulls back. Inhales to lengthen the spine, and then exhales to deepen the stretch, so think of softening the heart over top of the left thigh. Last breath here. And then re-bend into the left knee as you inhale, come up, palms to touch overhead, open heart towards sky. Hips press down and forward. And then release the back bend, drop the hands to frame out the left foot. We're gonna step the left knee back next to the right knee, find your tabletop. Take a little shift with the hips, side to side. And then finding your way back through neutral. On your exhale, lower the chin and the chest all the way to the floor. Your gaze is to the top of the mat. And that same ripple forward. Start by tucking tailbone down and rippling up the spine as you straighten out the elbows and pull the heart through. And on your exhale, bend into the elbows, lower all the way down to the belly. Hands are planted under shoulders. Tuck onto toes. Knees can either be grounded or they can be lifted. Core is strong. Press all the way back up, high plank. And then exhale, send the hips back. Downward facing. Shorten the stance of your down dog a bit and walk the feet wider towards the edges of the mat. Left hand stays planted. Going for a twist here. Right hand reaches for the left ankle. Wrapping lungs around the heart, so focus on the twist here, spinning heart up towards sky. Then inhale to come back through center, right hand plants. Swap it out, left hand to the right ankle. Wrapping lungs around the heart, gaze up underneath right armpit. Inhale to come back through center, come up onto the toes. Take a deep bend into the knees, you're pulling the hips back. This one feels kind of awkward, but it's also so good in the hips and the low back. And then re-straighten through the legs, walk the feet all the way to the top of the mat, forward fold. Clasp opposite elbows here, find a bit of a sway, give the wrists a moment of rest. Actually, let's even interlace the fingers and roll out the wrists. Switch direction of the circles. And then release the hands down to the mat. One vertebrae at a time. Let's roll it on up. Head and neck last to lift. Arms to sweep up overhead at the top. And then exhale, palms come to touch at heart center. Maybe close the eyes just for a breath. We'll take one more sequence before we start to slow things down. This one will be creative and funky, but maybe a little less heat building. Open the eyes. Right ankle stacks on top of the left knee. Send the hips back, send the heart forward. Figure 4 chair. I'm going to keep the upper body lifted here. Going in the theme of twists, palms are to touch at the heart. You can stay right here, or on your exhale, you could twist to the left until the right elbow works its way to the bottom of the right foot, or wherever the elbow lands along the leg is great. And on your inhale, if you've got the twist, let's release it. We're going to bring right peace fingers to the right big toe, left hand to the left hip. We're going to come all the way to standing and bring the right leg out to the right side of the mat. It's okay if the right leg does not come all the way straight. If there's a significant bend and it's uncomfortable, you could just hold on to the right knee. But no worries if the leg is not straight. We're going to bring right leg back forward in front of you. So right ankle straight in front of the right hip. And then both hands to the hips, lift up tall out of the waist. And on your exhale, just lever forward into your warrior 3 with the right leg kicking back. Big in breath here. On your exhale, bend into both knees. Right knee taps the left calf, pause. Right heel squeezes in, right hand drops down to the floor. Left fingertips open up, so we're twisting upper body to the left. And then kick the right leg back, finding your reverse half moon. Right toes flex back. Slow bend into the left knee until right toes drop to the back of the mat. We're keeping the right hand planted and then just open the heart towards sky. Shape feels super melty for me. Drop left hand to frame out the left foot. Straighten out through the left leg. Maybe even lifting left toes from the mat. Left hip pulls back if that feels good. And then dropping left toes down, re-bending into the left knee. Let's kick the left foot all the way back, 3-legged down dog. And then left foot drops next to the right, downward facing. Take a big in-breath here. On your exhale, ripple the spine forward, land in your high plank. Bend into the knees from the tailbone, pull the hips back, downward dog, rolling out the spine. One more time, exhale forward, high plank. Bend into the knees from the tailbone, let the hips pull back. And then this time on your exhale, roll forward, high plank. And then move it through your vinyasa, lowering halfway or all the way. Pulling through to an up dog or baby cobra. And then rolling over the toes, hips up and back, downward facing. All right, on your exhale, step, walk, hop, float, handstand, play. Land at the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale to release, fold, let it go. Inhale, rise, come through standing, palms to touch overhead. And then with your exhale, hands come to heart center. All right, we're ready for side 2. We're gonna bring weight into the right foot. Left ankle stacks on top of right knee as we send the hips back and the heart forward. Such a good hip opener. The deeper you bend in the right knee, the deeper the stretch will be in the left hip. You can either stay right here with palms to touch at the heart, or on your exhale, you could play with twisting upper body to the right. So you're working left elbow to the bottom of the left foot, or wherever the elbow lands along the way. Spin the heart open. Think of twisting right shoulder open. And then if you've got the twist, let's release back through center, palms to touch at the heart. Bring the right hand to the right hip. Left peace fingers to the left big toe. And then rooting through the right foot, driving through the right foot, come to standing and bring the left leg off to the left side of the mat. Left knee can be bent, left leg can be straight, or anywhere in between. Right arm can always come out to the side to help your balance if that helps you get steady. Reach tall through the crown of the head. On your next in-breath, we're going to bring left leg long in front of you. Again, totally fine if there's a bend in the left knee. Bring both hands to both hips. Left toes pull back. Lift the left foot even a little bit higher, strong in the bottom of the core. And then on your exhale, we lever through to our warrior three. With hands on the hips. Pull the rib cage up and in. Shift the left hip down a bit. On your next exhale, we're going to bend into both knees. Left knee taps the back of the right calf. Left heel squeezes in towards the glutes. Left hand drops down to the mat as the right fingertips open up towards sky. And then rooting into the right foot. Kick the left toes back. Straighten out through both legs, finding your reverse half moon. See if you can lift the left foot even a little bit higher here, so much so that you're really engaged into the left glutes. And then bend into the right knee until left toes drop all the way to the back of the mat and melt the heart open, finding a really big twist here. Right shoulder to open up on top of the left. Circle the right hand down so it frames out the right foot, straighten through both legs. Again, totally fine if the right knee has a little bend in it. You might ground into the right heel and lift the right toes up off the mat. Right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward. Soften heart over right thigh, nose towards right knee. And then drop the right toes down, re-bend into the right knee, plant the hands, and kick the right foot all the way back. Three-legged down dog. Drop the right foot next to the left foot. Big inhale here. On your exhale, let's roll forward, landing in your high plank. Wrists underneath the shoulders. Press the floor away. On your exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes. We're going to bring left arm out to a T. Bend into the right knee. And on your exhale, we're going to roll onto the left shoulder until the right toes drop all the way behind the back. My favorite shoulder opener. You can stay here, or you could bring right hand behind the back. You could even work towards interlacing fingers behind the back. And then using your next inhale, come back through center, and we will swap it out. Right arm extends out to a T. Bend into the left knee. And on your exhale, roll over onto the right shoulder. Left toes drop behind you. You can hang here, or you can drop left hand behind the back. You could work towards interlacing fingers. Using your inhale, come back to the belly. Bend into both knees for a moment, and then just windshield wiper the legs side to side. And come back through neutral. Stay grounded into the knees, but make sure the knees are about hip width distance. Press into the hands and come up into a tabletop position. Then we're going to walk the hands back so you can come up to standing on the shins. Hands to the low back, fingers pointing down. Roll the shoulders onto the back body. Tuck the tailbone forward, engage the glutes, and then open up the heart, finding camel pose. So hips press forward, heart opens up. This might even be a bit of a stretch for the wrists. Inhale to release the back bend. Stay tucked onto the toes. We're going to lower the hips down. See if without the hands you can lift the knees. See if without the hands you can drop the heels to the mat. Send the hips back and reach the fingertips forward as if you were reaching for something that was just in front of you, just at the top of the mat. And then we're going to do that again. So lift the heels. As you do, open the heart, shift the upper body back, tap the knees to the floor. And then from there, strong through the core, pull the knees back into the chest. Drop the heels to the floor, send the hips down and reach the fingertips forward. One more time. Lean the upper body as you lift the heels. Tap the knees to the mat, palms face open towards the ceiling. Maybe lean the upper body back more to get deeper into the stretch of the feet, the toes. And then knees pull back into the chest. Drop the heels if you can, although it's not necessary. We're going to pull the chin in towards the chest, hands to interlace at the base of the skull. And really pull the chin in so that you're getting length in the back of the neck. So chin pulls in. We're going to keep this interlace of the hands, keep the chin in as we straighten through the legs, coming up to our forward fold at the back of the mat with chin, pulling actively in towards the chest. So length all the way into the base of the skull, those muscles around the occiput. Soft bend into the knees as you inhale, halfway lift, peel the elbows up towards sky. This is a shape that probably feels familiar by now. Pull the elbows up towards ceiling. And then on your exhale, fold forward, release the hands, walk yourself all the way into your high plank. One last vinyasa for your practice, if you want it. We will meet in our final downward dog. From down dog, soften knees to the floor. Cross over the ankles, come to a seat. Extend legs out long in front of you. Toes pull back, spine is super tall. On your inhale, arms reach up overhead, so think of lifting up and out of the waist. And then exhale to fold forward. Hands, as always, drop wherever they land, wherever the edge of your flexibility is today. The feet, the floor, somewhere along the legs. Drop the head. Inhale to come back up through center. Bend into the knees. Bottoms of the feet come together. Hold on to the big toes. Spine is really tall. Think of lifting up and out of the waist. And then exhale to fold forward. Elbows press into the inner thighs, inviting knees towards the floor. Drop the chin, soften the jaw. The things you all hear me say on repeat because they're important. How much tension do we hold in our jaw, the muscles that help us speak? Inhale to come back up through center. Keep knees bent, plant the feet to the floor, and then just windshield wiper the legs side to side. Moving the top of the femur, the top of the thigh bone in the hip socket. And come back through center. Plant the feet to the floor, reach the fingertips forward. Use the strength of the core to lower all the way down onto the back body. Once you're there, knees pull into the chest. Take a little rock side to side. Maybe take some small circles on the low back. And then keeping the right knee into the chest, extend the left leg long to the top of the mat. Left toes flex back. Right thigh squeezes in towards the right rib cage to start, so think of compressing the right hip. And then drop the right arm out to the side, and on your exhale, find the twist. Right knee is guided over the left side of the body. If you want more intensity in the stretch, you could play with straightening through the right leg. And then using your inhale, come back through center. Straighten right leg up towards ceiling, hands interlaced behind the right thigh or right calf, or maybe all the way to the ankle. You're just pulling right leg towards body for a moment, just one breath. And then we swap it out. Left knee pulls in, right leg reaches long to the top of the mat. Start by actively pulling left thigh up towards left rib cage. And then dropping left arm out to a cactus or into a T. On your exhale, find the twist. Left knee over the right side of the body. If you want it, if it feels good, you could straighten through the left leg. And then on your inhale, let's come back through center. Straighten left leg up towards ceiling as the hands interlace behind the left thigh or up the left calf or maybe all the way to the ankle. Press the back of the right thigh down to the floor as you also invite the left leg in. And then pulling both knees into the chest. Lift the shoulders up off the mat. Clasp opposite elbows around the knees. Tight squeeze in, big inhale. On your exhale, let's settle all the way down onto our backs in Shavasana. Arms out by the sides, palms face up. Deep belly breaths in and deep belly breaths out. Notice at this point in the practice if there's anywhere in the body that you are holding. Are you clenching the jaw? Are you tensing any muscles throughout the face? We're going to take another minute or so in silence in Shavasana, and then what I'm going to encourage is that you join me in a seated meditation for the last couple minutes of the practice. So we have several minutes left to deep dive into this piece, this second side of the practice that is not so much about moving the body, but instead is about cultivating stillness and presence in our minds, which is a skill that can be taken into our whole lives. It's a really big one. So especially if the stillness is the part of the practice that feels most uncomfortable for you, I encourage you that much more to dive in, to walk towards it. And begin to invite in a little bit of a deeper breath, but we're not gonna bring too much movement into the body other than a gentle transition up into a seat where we will sit together for these last couple of minutes. You could wiggle fingers and toes if you wanted a little movement in the wrists, the ankles. Go with what feels good if there's movement that's calling you. Otherwise, knees in towards chest. You could roll onto a side if that's something that feels good. Making your way up into a comfortable seat at your own timing, your own pace. We are in no rush to get there. If you have something nearby that you'd like to sit up onto, you could, but is not required. But especially if you have any issues in the knees, it can be helpful to get the hips up a little higher for a meditation seat. Eyes close if they have fluttered open at all in this process up. And we're going to head into these last minutes of total silence. And if that's new to you, or if today is just a day that feels extra challenging for any reason, the reminder that when we sit in meditation, there's nothing to do, there's no way to do it right or do it wrong. It's just a matter of connecting to the present for as many moments here as we can. So you can find the breath without necessarily deepening the breath. You can simply watch it. So watching the inhales and the exhales. Notice if the mind has wandered and encourage it lovingly back. And without opening the eyes, invite in just a little bit of a deeper breath. I'd love if we could take one breath together, the deepest one you've taken yet today, emptying the lungs to start. And then take a long and full in-breath. Pause at the top and hold it. Sip in even a little bit more. Open the mouth for your exhale and let it move through. Palms can either meet in front of the heart to touch, or they can stay resting where they are resting. And start just by dropping the chin in towards the chest. And I thank you so much for sitting with me, for moving with me, for practicing, for diving in, and for being a part of the Kula. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you tomorrow, day number 4. By the way, if you don't know this yet, you can comment below on each of these video posts. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you'd like to see next. You can comment to each other, create conversation with the group, and I will be in there too, answering any questions that come up or just responding to those of you who have something to say. So let me know, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.